Hey everyone, it's Pam, and I'm back to share more of my life with you. I want to say that I watch my videos before I actually send them out, and I see me doing a lot of sighing. Me and my cousin calls it sucking air. We call it sucking air, and I'm doing it now. That's that thing where it's kind of heavy, and you might not have the correct words to express what it is that you want to say. But I do need you all to understand that I am not coming from a place of hurt. I'm not coming from a place of woundedness. I'm coming from a place of healing, and God has made me whole. I am not the little girl that I was when these things took place, nor am I the young woman that I was in my life prior, how I carried myself and the things that I did. God has brought me through a lot. And for that, I'm so grateful and thankful. What I'm doing as I'm sharing these stories is I'm praying that whoever it is that needs to hear these messages will understand that God wants to heal you. A lot of people have gone through what I've gone through, men and women. And a lot of you parents are going to find out that at some point, even your children have gone through this. And I'm hoping that through these stories, it will empower somebody to have the strength to ask God to heal them, to finally say, I'm tired of carrying this. I want to put this down. And I want to allow the Lord to do what he has to do in me so that I'm no longer hurt. I'm no longer walking in the tragedies of my past, but I can finally be healed and made whole, free of the pain and the wounds that cut so deep. So that's my purpose. I'm not hurting anymore. I'm not wounded. I don't cry about it anymore. I'm just putting my heart in a position so that God can use me to help somebody else. Okay. So I wanted to kind of go back, of course, and finish up the last video of what I was speaking of, and the things that were taking place in the home about this man that had come to live with my mom, my sister, and I. These things took place, I believe, about a 2-year period. And I said sixth grade, but I was in the seventh grade. I had to correct that. I was in the seventh grade when these things took place. And I remember the first time that I kind of got some courage to tell my grandmother, which was my great grandmother. I called her grandma, but she was my great grandmother. And I finally got enough courage to share it with her. And I told her that, he was messing with me. He was touching me. I didn't really go into a lot of detail, but I wanted to let her know that something was happening. Now, I didn't know where it was going to go after that. I just know that I needed to talk to somebody. And so I told her. I don't know how much time went by, but I remember I was home in my bedroom and playing with dolls. And that's when my mom came in, and she confronted me as to whether this person was doing anything to me. So I just want you to think in your mind about a 12-year-old child. And my mom comes in, and I'm sitting on the bed. She's standing in the doorway of our bedroom. And she says, so this person's messing with you? She calls their name. This person's messing with you? And I immediately froze. Excuse me. I didn't know what to say or how to really answer that, okay? Not that I didn't know that I should have said yes, but the way that the question was put to me, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel comfortable enough to say to my mom, yes, he is. In my mind, the way the question came off to me was accusatory, and I wasn't ready for that. It didn't sound like she believed what she heard, and it shut me down completely. I looked at my mom and I said, no. She said, so if he's not messing with you, then why did your grandmother say that he was? Where did she get that from? I looked my mom in the face and lied. I told my mom, I don't know where she got that from. I didn't say anything. I don't know why she said that. I was afraid. Again, fearful. Fearful of the unknown. Fearful of what would happen. Fearful, mainly, of course, what's going to happen to me. And I couldn't tell her. So my mom walked off. I went back to playing with my dolls, and life went on, and the activity went on. One particular night, my mom got sick, and she had to go to the hospital. It was cold enough that we had to have heaters in our rooms. And my mom, every time it would get cold like that, she would put a space heater in me and my sister's room to make sure that we were good and warm. We were awakened, I don't know, in the middle of the night. And he was saying, your mom's sick. I got to take her to the hospital. You girls, stay here. I'll be back. And I remember my sister and I kind of standing in the hallway, watching him, kind of helping my mom down the hallway and out the door. We stayed up for a while waiting on her to get back. And when they didn't come back, we went to bed. So I was saying to my sister again this night, hey, stay up with me. Just stay up. Don't fall asleep. And she was saying, I'm not going to fall asleep. I want to stay up. So every now and again, I would call her name, and make sure that she was still awake until finally when I called her name, she didn't answer anymore. So, of course, she had fallen asleep. He came back home and at first went to the bedroom. And so I lay there just kind of waiting. As usual, the light came on. He stood there for a minute, and then he came into our bedroom. He walked in on the side of my bed, and for the first time, he got in the bed with me. Now, when I heard this man open our front door and he came home, and I noticed that my mom wasn't with him, I knew then that my life was about to change forever. I knew then that this man was going to go all the way. He was going to rape me this night. I knew that was going to happen because my mom wasn't there and my little sister was asleep. When he cut that light on, the fear that flooded me, indescribable. He walked in and he got in bed with me that night. He pulled the covers back and he got in bed with me. Again, I was petrified, so filled with fear that I literally could not move. Every night that this was happening to me, I was petrified. I couldn't move. I felt like a piece of wood, a piece of a stone. My limbs just became inoperable. They could not move. My mouth wouldn't move. I would be talking in my head, but nothing was coming out of my mouth. He slid into the bed and then he put his arm around me and pulled me into him. And I started praying. I started saying, Lord, God, please Help me to move, Lord. Help me to just move. If I could just move my arms, if I could just move my legs, Lord, just help me to move. And he began to put his hands in my pants, and to start again, putting his fingers inside me. And I knew that this was going to happen. It was inevitable. Nobody was there to save me. It was going to happen. I continued to pray, Lord, please give me the strength to be able to move. I moved, y'all. I moved. I moved. I got out of the bed and I got into bed with my sister. For the first time in 2 years, I was able to move. I got into bed with my sister. He was saying to me, I just wanted to come in here because it's warm in here in your room, and it's cold over there in the other room because your mom put the heater in here. And so I said, fine, okay, well, I'm gonna sleep over here, and you can have that bed. You can sleep there. So he laid there a few moments, and then he got up and he went back into my mom's bedroom where it was cold. Remember, because he was coming in there because it was so cold in that room, he had to come in our room because it was warm. But we all know the real reason why he came in there. But I thank God that he didn't allow him to rape me. That did not take place. But just the trauma of the constant touching, the constant invading my body. It took me years and years and years to get over it. I was 35 years old when I finally got up enough courage to tell my mom that it even happened. And even then, when I was telling my mom about it, the shock on her face, the pain on her face, I couldn't tell my mom everything. I couldn't be as open as I wanted to be, because I could see how much it pained her, that it hurt her, that she didn't know. My mom told me that had she known, she would have killed him. She said, I would have killed him. And I believe she would have. If anybody knows my mom, she would have. And that might be one of the reasons why God didn't allow me to tell it. I don't know. That it gives him a chance to repent and to ask God for forgiveness and change his life around. But I know for me, it definitely gave God a way to be able to use me again for somebody else, because somebody else is going through this. Somebody else is dealing with this. Someone else will deal with this. And you got to know that you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay in the hurt and the pain. Forgiveness was a big thing. I remember the Lord talking to me about it and saying that you have to forgive. I wasn't really bitter. I was just really hurt. I was just really damaged. I didn't even want my husband to put his hand there because of the trauma that I had experienced before. That was like a no-no. In the love making and I didn't want that part of it. We could kiss, we can touch, but don't do that. Because that was just disgusting to me because of that trauma that had happened. I didn't want to be touched like that, 2019, God had already planned that I was going to see this man, okay? Years had gone by and I had been thinking to myself, would I ever lay eyes on him again? 2019 was that year. And God set it up where I was able to see him again. Now, I had already forgiven him. I had forgiven him. I had let it go. But I had never seen him again, okay? When I did see him, I said to the Lord, is this the time? Is this the time that I'm going to be able to talk to him about it? Is this the time that I'm going to be able to say and let him know that I forgive him? Because that's what the Lord gave me. That's the mandate he gave me. He said, you're going to have an opportunity to talk to him. And I want you to let him know that you've forgiven him. God told me he don't want me to have no conversation. He just wants me to let him know that I have forgiven him. And that's what I was going to do. So when God put the situation out there where we could be alone for a moment, I turned to him and I told him, I looked at him eye to eye and I said, I forgive you. And he just stared at me, kind of blinking. And I said to him a second time, did you hear what I said? I said, I forgive you. And he just stared at me. Then I took my hand and I grabbed his face like this. And I said to him the third time, I forgive you. When I did, he just bent over and he just began to just sob and just say to me, you don't know. You don't know the pain that I've been in. You don't know the burden that I've carried. And I looked at him and I said, but I do, because I carried it. So I do know. When he raised himself back up, he began to just breathe deeply, and he began to say, I'm free. I'm free. And I reached my hand out and I put my hand on his chest and I said, and be free, because I no longer hold you. I have forgiven you. And just like I have forgiven you, you must go back now and forgive all the people that have hurt you. The same forgiveness, the same mercy, the same grace that God has given me, I now give you. And now you go and you give it to somebody else. Because we all need it, y'all. We all need it. I need God's mercy. I need God's grace. I need God's forgiveness daily. Not once, not twice, not 7 times, not 20 times. All day, every day, I need it. So with that same thing, that same grace, mercy, forgiveness that I need from God, I got to be willing to give that to somebody else. Even people that some consider the scum of the earth, they deserve it. Not because I think so, but because Christ said so. Because he died for all of us. And he never sinned. He was perfect. But he chose imperfect me, sinful me, disgusting me. And he picked me up out of my sinfulness, my iniquity, out of my blood, my filth. And he cleansed me. And he renewed my mind. And he told me I was worth something, y'all. Because I didn't feel worth anything. I felt worthless. I felt worthless. What many of you didn't know is that I did feel worthless. I had low self-esteem. Yeah, I had low self-esteem. Because this was taking place, I thought something was wrong with me. I thought there must be some malady in me. There must be something messed up about who I am that somebody could think that it was okay to do that to me. So obviously something's wrong with me. In hindsight, now I understand, of course, that the enemy was setting out. He was set out to destroy me. He wanted to kill the things that God had put within me. He hates us. He hates God's creation. He hates God's creation. And his only mission is to kill, steal, and destroy whoever he can at whatever cost to you. He don't care. He don't care that babies, are little bitty innocent little toddlers. Men rape them. People sacrifice them, cut them up into pieces. But he's a healer. And how could you know that God was a healer except for somebody have to be sick? How would you really know that God was a provider unless somehow you're in lack? How could you know that God was a defender unless you needed to be defended? So this thing of we thinking we're going to live a life and we're not going to have any problems, any woes, any nothing is a lie. This Christian life, y'all, this thing is real. This is real life right here. Riding for God ain't no easy thing. You know how you ride and die? No, yeah, you're going to ride and die with Christ. You're going to die to your flesh. You're going to die to self if you're going to ride with God. That's just the way it is. It's not going to be your way. It's going to be his way. You're not going to have it sunshine and rainbows every day. God going to cause the sun to shine on the just like he do the unjust. He going to cause the rain to pour down on the just like he do the unjust. It's the way it is. Good things happen to bad people. Bad things happen to good people. Good things happen to us all. Bad things happen to us all. But it's what you do with it. I gave all my stuff to God, good and bad. I gave it all to him. Everything. My children, my finances, my entire life, my family. I surrendered it all. The hardest thing I've ever had to do was to surrender me to God. Because I didn't know what God was going to do with me. My biggest thing with God was, okay, Lord, so you're saying you're going to make me into this new creation. Then who am I going to be? If I'm not going to be Pam, who am I going to be? Because, again, in mindset, y'all, we have lived a life and we have made a name for ourselves. We made a name for ourselves. And my name was, I'm just straightforward. I tell it like it is. If you don't want to know, don't ask me. No nonsense. I don't put up with no foolishness. Single mom, I'm raising my kids. I'm doing the best I can with it. I'm a nice looking woman. I knew inside that I was broken and I needed some healing. I just didn't know how much healing I needed. Till God showed me just how broken I really was. But I made up who I was in my mind. And God was saying, but that's not you. That's not you. I had all these walls up in my heart because I had been beaten down and broken and hurt so many times from relationship to relationship, trying to find love, trying to be loved, trying to be accepted, trying to be understood. Because this narrative that I'm talking to you all about, it became a pattern in my life where I would get hurt by men continuously. And remember, I was saying back then that I saw that the enemy was trying to push me into lesbianism because he wanted me to hate men. Again, I thank the Lord that it didn't go to that. But I was wounded nevertheless. I was broken nevertheless. The hurt, the pain, the shame was still there. It didn't go away. I came to a point in my life, and I know at some point later I'll talk about, I wanted to kill myself. I did. I wanted to die because I felt that worthless. I felt worthless to my children. I felt worthless to myself. I didn't see that I had any value, that I should still be here. But God saw value in me. He did. And he is why I'm still here. You can overcome it. You can overcome it with Christ. He'll help you. He helped me. I know he's real. I know God is real. Can't nobody convince me, tell me no different. He's real. And he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. If you cry out, he'll save you. He will. And cry out is just saying that, Lord, I need help. I need help. I need you, God. I can't do it by myself. I need help. You ain't got to have no elaborate words. You ain't got to have no whole bunch of scripture. Just cry out. God will lead you to the word. He comforted me. You know what, y'all? I had told myself I would never cry. I said to myself one day, Pam, you don't have time to cry. You don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. You don't have time to boo-hoo over all of the stuff that has gone on in your life. You ain't got time for that. You got to raise these children. You got to make sure you got a roof over your head. You got to make sure the lights stay on, that the water is running. You got to do that. You ain't got time for nothing else. When I did that, you all, unbeknownst to me, there was another wall erected where, although I felt things, I pushed them down. So no matter what was going on with me, I would push it down and I would move on. And for more than 35 years, probably 40 years, I never cried. I never cried. Never. Y'all hear me? I might let a couple of tears fall out my eyes. If I was really feeling bad about something, maybe a couple of tears I would allow to fall. But I would quickly suck it up and say, okay, girl, get it together. Get it together. You ain't got time for this. Kept pushing it down. Something else happened. Kept pushing it down. Something else took place. Kept pushing it down. Until finally, y'all, just like you shake up a soda and you pop the top and it all just comes spilling out, you can't put it back in there, can you? That's what finally happened to me. But that'll be in a later video. I thank you all for coming and listening to me. And I'll be back as the Lord leads with some more. I love you all, and thank you for watching.